Hey everybody, this video is by request. Today I'm going to be recommending some short story collections from my shelves to yours. Let's get started. Hi everybody and welcome back to my channel. It's Russell with Ink and Paper Blog. How are you doing today? I hope you guys are doing really well. My life is crazy busy right now. Work has just been all over the place. I've been working many hours a day. So my reading life has really been fit in where you are able. But I still have had the opportunity to read some really great books. So I hope you guys have too. Today's video is actually by request. On my last video, I had two separate people request that I give some recommendations regarding short story collections. Something I don't think I've ever done in like a whole video on short story collections on my channel. Now, I always say I struggle a little bit with how to talk about short story collections because for me, if they're good, there's a lot of variety, there's a lot of stuff to talk about, and it's really hard not to like spoil the story. However, I do have quite a stack here of books to share with you. I'm going to be doing, I think, 5 that I have read and 3 that are on my personal TBR. So as always, get out your pen, get out your paper, get out your Goodreads, however you keep track of your TBR. And if you are so able, please order these books from your local independent bookstore and or have your library get you a copy as soon as possible, because these are short story collections you are not going to want to miss. So let's get started first with a book that I talked a lot about a couple of years ago, and that is the amazing collection, Whatever Happened to Interracial Love by Kathleen Collins. Now, this book actually came out many years after Kathleen Collins passed away, and it's a collection of her short work that came out during her lifetime. I believe most of it came out during her lifetime. She focuses on race in America from many different angles. She talks a lot about being a Black woman in America. She talks a lot about the relationships surrounding race, not only between the people that are in the relationship, but also those outside perspectives that sometimes either can have a lasting effect on the relationship in and of itself, and or the relationship can change the perspective of others. These stories are very concise. The language is absolutely gorgeous. She has such a clear and distinct point of view, and everyone ends with some sort of moment of just self-realization that you are reading a master. I loved this collection, and that's Whatever Happened to Interracial Love by Kathleen Collins. Now, I actually have another book that just came out, I want to say last year, for Kathleen Collins, which is a collection of other work by her. I think one is like her screenplay. She produced a movie that was really famous. I think the screenplay is in it. So there are other books by her that have come out since one that I know of. So if you have read that one, pick up the new one and take a gander at that. The next one is Her Body and Other Parties by Carmen Machado. I feel like it's a little silly to mention this one because it was so well received. It was shortlisted for the National Book Award, and so many people have talked about it. However, it is sheer brilliance. This collection is sort of a sci-fi horror twinge to most of the stories, dealing with women and their bodies, their ownership of themselves, ownership by others. There's a lot of very quirky stories in here. The first story is called The Human Stitch. It's about a woman who has a green ribbon around her neck that she can never take off, and her husband's obsession with getting a hold of it and not understanding why this ribbon is on her neck. And yeah, some stuff happens. That's all I'm going to say. There's a really interesting short story that's told sort of from the perspective of like a police procedural, sort of like a, what is it called? SUV, like Los Angeles SUV. I don't watch those shows, so I'm sorry, I don't know what it is. But it's really cleverly done. I highly recommend just keeping this book by your bedside and reading a story a night. It will just really sort of give you hope for the fact that there are brilliant, young, inventive writers doing amazing things with literature out there, and you will just love it. there you go. And that's Her Body and Other Parties by Carmen Maria Machado. Next is a book that I probably would tell you is my favorite short story collection of all times, and that is Heads of the Colored People by Nafissa Thompson-Spires. This was longlisted 2 years ago for the National Book Award. I had never heard of it. So when it was longlisted, I read the whole entire long list, and this is the book that I walked away with the biggest impression of the talent, the sheer voice, and utter brilliance of the author. And this book it's actually very hard to describe because each story is so different that she just shows what you can do with the short story form. She does deal with themes of race in America. She deals with poverty. She deals with the idea of wealth in America. Some of the stories will have interconnected characters, so you'll see someone in one story and you'll see them later on in another, which really brings sort of a worldly view that everybody's connected in some way, shape, or form. I will tell you right now, the last story, I was reading it and I kept saying, oh my gosh, she's not going to do what I think she's going to do. Oh my gosh, she's not going to do what I think. And when I ended the story, I immediately started the whole entire story all over again. To me, it was perfect. So that's Heads of the Colored People by Nafissa Thompson-Spires. And yeah, I love this one. Okay. Now I'm going to go a little comedy for you, a short story collection that came out last year called Someone Who Will Love You in All Your Damaged Glory by Raphael Bob-Waksberg. And I'm going to hold that up. He is one of the creators of BoJack Horseman, the TV series, which I know my husband watches. I don't watch a ton of serial TV like that, but I know my husband finds BoJack Horseman hilarious. And this has the same wit. Clever, uniquely done, weird, at times irreverent, at times right on point. What the author does is he makes you laugh as he makes you think. And he is hilarious. He is really, really funny. This is an arc, but this book is 100% out right now. It came out in the summer of last year. So that is Someone Who Will Love You in All Your Damaged Glory by Raphael Bob-Waksberg. So I'm going to hold that up right there for you. Okay, last but not least on this list, every once in a while, you just have to throw in a master, a person that has changed the form, something that sits there in the canonical canon of short story writing in this case. And there were a lot of people that I thought that I really was going to talk about. So here I'm going to mention, if you haven't read All the Things They Carried by Tim O'Brien, you really, really should. That was the other book that was sort of fighting here, but I've talked about it on my channel before. And I feel like this author is known within the writing community and the reading community, but maybe not by everybody. So there's an opportunity to share her brilliance. And that is A Manual for Cleaning Women by Lucia Berlin, Selected Stories. So I'm going to hold that up there. I know that is a hard cover to read. This collection came out after the passing of Lucia Berlin, and it really was an homage to the brilliance that she was. I think she's one of those writers that writers and readers, literature people have always been reading, but that hasn't sort of made her way into the zeitgeist as much as I wish she could. I'm creating language as we speak. She just has a way with words and stories, and she, to me, she's up there with Alice Munro, and she's up there with Raymond Carver, and she's up there with the people who do something with the short story form that changes your perspective on how that can be used to create amazing literature. So that is A Manual for Cleaning Women, Selected Stories by Lucia Berlin. Yeah, so get your hands on this one. And this one's like a big collection, so I recommend, again, this is a good one to sort of have by your side of the bed and just maybe read a story a night, sort of come in. Do you see me organizing books on I was afraid they were gonna fall over. So I also have 3 short story collections that are on my TBR that I plan to read. The first is April Warnings by Mark Please, and I'm sorry, Mark, if I'm saying your name wrong. And this is actually from a little independent press called Feliz Books. So I want to thank them for sending me. This is actually out. You can get your hands on it right now. And this is a short story collection that sort of centers on small town life. It investigates sort of those aspects. And the way it says it on the back here is it investigates small town corruption, mystery, loss, faith, family, metaphysics, and even aliens, all under the funnel of a tornado that warps the line between facts and fiction. I've read actually the first story in this collection and I really liked it. I don't know why I put it down, but it has been sitting there saying, Russell, read me. So that is April Warnings by Mark Please. So that is definitely on my TBR. The next one is probably one of those books that really I thought I was going to read last year. And my friend Jacqueline over at 6 Minutes to Me and 2, who works at East Bay Booksellers and is on Instagram, and if you don't follow her, you absolutely should. And that is Lot by Brian Washington. I don't know why I haven't read this yet. I've heard nothing but rave reviews about it. I know that it is very diverse. It deals with a lot of different perspectives. There's a lot of queer representation. And Brian Washington has a style. When I see him, I just am drawn to him. And I actually read that I think his first novel comes out, I want to say this year. So I'm sorry if that's wrong. I just read it on Twitter, I think yesterday. But I know that he is producing more work. So I'm really excited to read Lot by Brian Washington. And I want to thank too, she sent me this copy. She had an extra, and yeah, I'm super excited about that. And last but not least is another small press collection, and that is Imaginary Museums by Nicolette Polek. And I think that this cover is just so much fun. And this is out from my friends over at Soft Skull. And this is actually one of those short story collections where everything is very short. So, and I have actually read the first part of this one as well. Let me make sure, I got to remember. Yes. Okay. So the first story is called The Rope Barrier, and it is about this woman who brings this rope around with her and sets up a barrier around her. And as the complications of that idea come to fruition, I'm not going to say much more, but it says here, she transports us to a gently unsettling realm inhabited by disheveled landlords, a fugitive bride, a seamstress who forgets what people look like, and 2 rival falconeers from neighboring towns. They find themselves in bathhouses, sports bars, grocery stores, and forests in search of exits, pink tennis balls, licorice, and independence. Yet all of her beautiful, strange characters are possessed by a familiar and human longing for connection to their homes, families, gods, and to themselves. So yeah, I'm super excited about this. I feel like, again, that this one would be a fast read, but at the same time, I feel like she's going to probably give me a lot of those aha moments where I'm like, wow, never thought of that. So that's Imaginary Museums by Nicolette Polek, and this is out from Soft Skull Press. So I think that's a good stack of short story. I hope that you guys that requested this video are happy with these collections and that you pick 1, 2, 3, or all of them up. As always, if you're a return subscriber, I could not do this without you. I thank you so very, very much. If you are new to my channel, I hope you subscribe, come back for more, and like this video moving forward. As always, I encourage you to shop locally, read globally, and until next time, I wish you happy reading. Bye!